Hi, my name's Charles, and I started attending grad fellowship in the summer of 2023. When I started attending grad fellowship, I was not yet Christian. I was just starting exploring these questions about right and wrong, whether there is a real right and wrong, and if there is, where it comes from. So I didn't have a religious upbringing, and I remember earlier in life, I tried all sorts of different things as an ultimate purpose in life. I remember the first thing I tried was fitness and going to the gym all the time. When I got tired of that, the next thing I tried was just having fun and going to parties. And when I finished high school and I started undergrad, I remember thinking that the answer was academic achievement and career success, only to find a couple of years later that that also wasn't the answer. So I became interested in these questions about right and wrong in law school. I remember working with all these different rules and starting to wonder if these rules are fair or just, and then starting to wonder if there even is such thing as fairness and justice, and if there is real fairness and justice, where it comes from. So in the last year of law school, a friend of mine who's Christian invited me to the Good Friday service at St. Paul's. And for those of you who don't know, it's this massive service. I remember feeling very out of place, and that was the first church service I had ever gone to. So it all felt very foreign to me. So at the end of it, I was really eager to leave, but fortunately I ran into a friend of mine on my way out, and he introduced me to Pastor Dan, who he mentioned used to be a lawyer. I remember hearing that and thinking that might be a good networking opportunity to meet Pastor Dan, and so we connected right there. So Dan and I went out for lunch, and we spent a few hours talking about his Christian beliefs. By the end of it, I wasn't convinced, but he gave me two books. The first was Mere Christianity by C.S. Lewis, and the second is The Case for Christ by Lee Strobel. I remember just being in awe of Lewis's arguments about objective morality, and more importantly, why true right and wrong has to come from one ultimate source, being God. So I was very excited to encounter these new ideas, but that excitement was pretty short-lived. I remember it quickly was followed by the sense of dread, because a lot of the mistakes that I had made in the past, I now realized weren't just breaches of decorum or social norms, but they were actually violations of some kind of ultimate measure of right and wrong. And so with the sense of dread, it started to grow and grow. And I remember thinking about which kind of religious or philosophical explanation for what I was feeling made the most sense. So it was around that time that I started attending grad fellowship. And I remember grad fellowship being the space where I felt like I could ask all sorts of questions. I met all of these people, many of whom had been Christian all their lives, who were more than willing to spend hours talking with me about all of my questions about Christian doctrine. And I think our discussions, especially about this concept of sin, really helped me better understand what I was feeling. The Christian conception of sin really resonated with me because I remember feeling like it addressed a lot of the preconceptions I had about religion. I'd understood religion as fairly transactional, where you do good things and you get to go to heaven, and if you do bad things, you go to the bad place. And Christianity starts with the premise that we are all bad and we do bad things. I remember being very concerned that even after these realizations, I was still making the same kind of mistakes that I made in the past. And I realized just how impossible it is to be perfect. This all culminated one evening, July 10th, 2023. My friend Jonas and I went out for Korean barbecue, and we were just catching up when unexpectedly one thing led to another, and that ended up being the evening that I came to faith and accepted Jesus as my Lord and my Savior. Past 2.5 years have been transformative, to say the least. So my advice for anybody who's new to grad fellowship is to not be afraid to ask questions. Even today, I still have questions, but over the past 2.5 years, I've learned just how important it is to have a place, a community, where you feel comfortable asking those questions.